Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today you join me at the beginning of a really rather busy work week. But with that in mind, I simply had to sneak in a little episode sharing with you something wonderful that I've built in recent days. Something that's almost indescribably improved my quality of life. Indeed, our quality of life. My lovely wife loves this thing as well. I've converted one of the inbuilt wardrobes in our bedroom into a graphic novel and comic book cupboard. A cupboard that can actually store these books and this volume of these fairly heavy books. And in so doing, I've solved one of the fundamental problems we had living in this house. You see, this house is always going to have lots of graphic novels because I read a lot of graphic novels. I've touched on this in a previous episode, but I am fairly intensely dyslexic. And while I do and have to and can read a lot of serious material for work, as an archaeologist, as an academic, and for other reasons, I can read lots of stuff. It's not relaxing. It's exhausting, in fact. And so, when it comes to an evening or a weekend or just some time off, I don't turn to a novel for relaxation. I turn to a graphic novel. You get the balance of the story along with beautiful artwork. It's soothing. And actually, as someone commented on a video where I talked about graphic novels and dyslexia, you find that you almost bathe in the story in that sense. It's a rich experience, and hence we have a lot of graphic novels in this house. But they were piling up all over the place. You've seen also in a previous episode the cupboard that's just over there. I'm not going to show you our whole bedroom because my wife would murder me because there's just piles of clothes around at the moment. But that cupboard over there is my wardrobe and was where I was storing lots of graphic novels in a pile and also on a small bookshelf at the bottom. And it was less than ideal, shall we say. Not only could I not get to things at the bottom of the pile in that wardrobe, but also it didn't store everything. There were little piles all around the house, next to the bed, in the spare room, in my office, next to my chair, in the living room, in the drawer under the bed. There was stuff everywhere. I was tripping over graphic novels, but also, crucially, I couldn't find what I wanted to read. The number of times of an evening when I should be settling down for the night and just reading before I go to sleep, that I found myself getting up and hunting for that particular volume that I've been looking for. I don't know, maybe 500 essential graphic novels, for example, and couldn't find it. It was just less than satisfactory, and it was actively making it difficult to use these books for their intended purpose, for entertainment and relaxation. And so it was actually my wife who suggested that I convert one of the wardrobes, because we don't need three wardrobes in this room, into essentially a series of bookshelves. Now they had to be solid, and so we adopted the same solution that we did with our media unit downstairs, using one of the leftover scaffolding boards or planks, and also buying one additional board. We were able to make the series of shelves, 5 shelves in all, using that technique of putting corner brackets on into effectively into the walls here, and then putting the boards onto 4 of those brackets, so that it's almost an invisible solution. The shelf almost appears to float, but also crucially it's solid, because that tendency of, for example, MDF or another type of board to sort of bend under the weight of books would be a bit too dangerous in this particular scenario. So we wanted something that wasn't going to bend, but also that we knew worked, and so we adopted that media unit solution. Again, as I've already talked about in a previous episode. In this instance, though, there was one problem, and that was the fact that this wardrobe is built into an alcove of the bedroom, so it's on one side of a chimney breast, but the board, I guess, this isn't really wood, but the laminated board of the wardrobe even though it's about 1.5 centimeters thick, or maybe an inch thick, possibly, it's not attached to the wall directly. There's actually a space, maybe of about an inch again, between this and the wall on both sides. And so to solve that problem, I used the sort of drywall I don't know what you call them really, drywall hole makers. It almost like when you pre-drill a hole in the wall and put in a plug for a wood screw, perhaps. This is kind of a drywall equivalent, and it works in this instance in this wardrobe wood. So, but you sort of put that in first, obviously with a hole pre-drilled to help it go in, because these snap. Actually, the first one I put in, I didn't pre-drill a hole, and it did break because this isn't metal; it's metallized plastic, I think. But anyway, it goes in, gives you a nice solid purchase in the side, and a place to put a screw where I could attach the corner brackets and in turn attach the shelves. And I'm super pleased. I could not be more pleased with this, because with a couple of exceptions. So for example, my art books now are, well actually no, crucially my art books are now all in one place down in the office. And in turn I've been able to bring up some Marvel graphic novels from the office up here. And also there are a few collected volumes that I have stored in the living room. But those to one side, and crucially those neatly in their place, I've got everything here at my fingertips. And it's been a joy, an absolute joy, just to go, do you know what, I fancy Fantastic Four. I will go and find some Fantastic Four. I know exactly where it is. And broadly speaking, I've got a miscellaneous shelf, a Marvel shelf, a DC shelf, a shelf for things like Star Trek, Star Wars, Transformers, and this kind of thing. And it all just makes sense. It just makes sense to have one place that I can just open up, find what I need, and then crucially put it back and not find myself tripping over it in the middle of the night. Yeah. As I say, it's a short, sharp, sweet little episode this week, but I simply had to share with you the benefits of just adequate storage and thinking about what you require in terms of storage. We didn't require a third wardrobe. What we required was a book cupboard, and it's fantastic. Thank you for watching, guys. As ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.